over here. I understand.
Hemisphere.
I understand.
We run this hemisphere.
What side? My side?
Wow.
What was the song?
Papa
Wait.
Don't Preach.
Papa Don't Preach.
Oh, are we on?
I
don't
think
think
we're
we're
on.
on yet.
We're on.
Don't we start at 8 now?
He started the thing.
I don't know.
Who did the...
All right, we're
Which
on.
version of Papa Don't Preach?
Just the OG, Madonna. But it could have been the Glee version, so thank you for clarifying. But yeah, just a good old Madonna. Papa Don't Preach.
Wait, is that Madonna's song originally?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Is it not?
Listen, I hear Papa Don't Preach, and I think of it...
Papa Don't
Pop, because of the Papa, I feel like that would be a song that was sang in the 50s or the 60s.
No.
Okay, straight
Just
Madonna.
Madonna singing about having a baby.
Turn up. Go ahead, Madonna.
Very
That's
controversial
what Madonnas
song.
are supposed to do,
Yeah.
aren't they? Isn't that? Listen, I have no clue who this Madonna lady is, biblically speaking.
Oh, like
Or-
the Madonna?
Yes. But isn't that what we call Mary? Like, I'm not sure. I don't know. Don't give me the line.
Yeah. The
Okay.
Madonna in Christian art typically refers to a depiction of the Virgin Mary,
Gotcha.
either alone or with the Christ child.
Got you. Okay. There it is. Boom.
But this Madonna,
Uh-huh.
known for pushing some boundaries back in her heyday.
Was she?
Oh, yeah.
Also do not know much about her.
That's so interesting.
What?
Because I feel like Madonna was just something that I knew by osmosis. It's not like I grew up in the 80s. I didn't grow up in peak Madonna
But
heyday.
80s, early 90s is Madonna.
Yeah.
So there's still some trail off there in the mid 90s. She was still around doing stuff.
Yeah. I feel like it was very much like a Madonna and Prince pushing boundaries. Like
I think
Prince from the
everybody
men's side,
was.
Madonna from the...
I think
yeah, but I feel
Janet-
like they were the leaders of those two movements.
Oh, Boy George was out there.
I know, but like
Janet-
one, they're both singular names. Madonna, Prince.
Mike. Yeah. Well, there was some.
Michael Jackson's in a completely different category.
Well, Prince is not going to like you saying that.
Different... there's a difference between most impactful artists and artists who were pushing boundaries artistically.
Oh, well, Mike isn't going to like you
I
saying
know.
that.
I'm sorry. Please don't come at me from the sky. What's up, everybody? It is Monday, May 19th. It is going to be a good day. Jessica Benson with you from the Grind City Media Studios in Memphis, Tennessee. CJ Hurt behind the glass. Coming up on today's show, the NBA Conference Finals are set. In the West, it is Thunder Timberwolves. In the East, it is Knicks Pacers. We'll get into all of the action from this weekend. WNBA is back. It took exactly one game to reignite the Caitlin Clark Angel Reese Discourse. We love Discourse. We'll get into some of the main takeaways from the W. Nike EYBL came to Memphis this weekend. The Jaw 2 Kool Aid collab was on display. Gary Parrish will join us. We'll chat with him about everything and anything. We'll end with a little Hot Mess Express. Included in that, one of the biggest upsets in sports history happened last night. We'll get into it. It is a Monday. You know what we say. Every weekend should be a 3-day weekend. Every weekend should be a 3-day weekend. Yeah. Is your child a natural-born entertainer? Now is their chance to join the most talented youth dance crew in the Mid-South, the Blue Bunch. The Blue Bunch entertains Grizz Nation with their energetic dance routines and even have the opportunity to collaborate on performances with leading artists in the entertainment industry. Kids ages 7 to 17 are invited to show off their skills and personality for their chance to join the next generation of NBA entertainers. Open auditions are Saturday, June 28th. Visit grizzlies.com/auditions now for more information.
Creed. By overwhelming demand, the Summer of '99 tour returns. July 27th, FedEx Forum. With special guests 3 Doors Down. And Mammoth WVH. Tickets on sale now at livenation.com. Creed returns, the Summer of '99 tour.
The First Ladies of FedEx Forum, the Grizz Girls, are known across the NBA for setting the standard for professional dance and entertainment, and they are looking for dancers to join their team for the 2025-2026 season. With the chance to gain professional dance experience and connect with the Memphis community, auditioning for the Grizz Girls is an opportunity you do not want to miss. Come show up at Open Call Auditions Saturday, July 26th at the Memphis Sports and Events Center. Visit grizzlies.com/auditions now for more information.
1, 2, 3. Ready, go.
Dance Kid Dance Tour. Live in Memphis. FedEx Forum, Saturday, August 30th. With special guests, Bush and Morgan Wade. Get tickets now at livenation.com. Shinedown, live in concert. For more, visit shinedown.com.
Catch us if you can at Southland Casino Hotel and win your share of up to $1.8 million in free play and prizes. Join us for drawings every Saturday in May, June, and July. Each month, over 900 winners will take home free play or drive off in a new car or motorcycle. Be there for all 6 grand finale drawings and try to catch us if you can, only at Southland Casino Hotel. Must be 21 up. Play responsibly. For help quitting, call 800-522-4700.
The other thing that came out this week that we were talking about innovation and Nike and all that, they dropped these $900 hyper boots that
900.
I mean, they're a recovery shoe apparently that you wear after sports, whatever.
Who's buying it? Because all the athletes that we see, they're going to get seated this. So who's going to actually pay $900 for this?
The Sneak Fest Show, live Tuesdays at 2 p.m. on Grind City Media on X, YouTube, and the official Grind City Media mobile app.
How about Mr. Irrelevant coming from the Memphis Tigers? Yeah, how about that? New England Patriots
Second
took
time.
Memphis defensive back Kobe Minor with the 257th overall pick.
If you're the player getting drafted at that spot, it's almost better to go undrafted and pick a place as an undrafted free agent to sign with where you have a better chance
But
of
you get a lot
sticking.
of stuff. You get a parade. I
They
think you
do?
go to Disneyland, I believe.
Mr. Irrelevant goes to Disney?
I think so.
The Odds Couple, live at 2 p.m. on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
Feels great to feel the sunshine. Gotta own the day like it's all mine. Just got paid in his own time. Been working hard, I've been on the grind. I deserve this feeling, having my way. I've been on this healing. This is my day. The sun's out, let's have a little fun now. I wanna let it all out. That's what it's all about. Cause I deserve this feeling, having my way. I deserve this healing. This is my day.
Grind City Media presents The Jessica Benson Show with CJ Hurt. Live from the Grind City Media Studios on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
What's up, everybody? Happy Monday. Nice to be back after a long weekend for us. Tons to get into from the weekend. NBA action, WNBA action. A very action-packed weekend here in Memphis. I spent 3 days at Smoke Slam down on the river. We had Smoke Slam down here, Barbecue Fest out at the Liberty Bowl, and the Nike EYBL event out at the Memphis Sports and Events Center as well. So a lot of activity in Memphis. My blood is barbecue. I don't know how many 3-day festivals I have left in this little body of mine. I don't know how many years I have left where I can do a full 3-day festival situation, especially coming off of River Beat, which was just 2 weeks ago where I did all 3 days. But I was determined to support anything happening in downtown Memphis. That's what I do. It's what I live for. And it was a great weekend in Memphis. Like, once again, just all positive vibes. The weather waited. We got the thunderstorms last night. A lot of stuff got shut down early on Friday because of the pending weather, but made it through. It was hot. It was humid. But it was just great. It was a good time. You came out on Friday for a little bit.
I did come out on Friday. I saw whoever the Friday performer was, whichever band that was.
Revivalists.
That one. Saw them. And then, just bopped about. and kicked it in some tents, man. It was a good time. It's always fun getting out there and seeing people who I normally see this time of the year, right? Like, hey, we don't hang out. We don't have to hang out.
Yeah.
I see you at this event, and we have a great time. And that's what it was. I tried several times to win my lovely wife a stuffed teddy bear. Didn't do it.
I got a sloth.
Which game did you win?
Yeah, my husband won me a sloth.
Which
I don't
game
know.
did he win?
He disappeared for an hour, and he came back with a sloth and a gremlin. Probably two stuffed animals.
I wonder how much money he spent.
Probably a lot.
Okay, all right. Because after the second, you can get 3 balls for 10.
I think what he does always is the little water shooter game, and you stack the courts. Like you play with people that you know.
Got
so at one point, you have to win almost. So that would be my guess.
I follow.
He doesn't. He likes to be really particular with the carnival games because obviously most of them are rigged. But if you do that little like shooty water game.
With people you know, and then
he
it's
was
just
there
like, hey.
with his friend. That was the thing too. Like we have one of our best friends is in town from Los Angeles, and it was just so fun seeing him have such a good time in Memphis. Like, listen, we don't have to pretend this is something it's not. Like most people are not highlighting Memphis as their #1 vacation destination, but when you do have friends come to town and it's during a weekend like this, he was like, hell, I want to move to Memphis. I want to join a barbecue fest team. I want to join a smoke slam team. And we're like, okay, well, not every weekend is like this, but there is something intoxicating about the smell of barbecue on the river, the community. He was like, God, you guys know everybody. I said, no, that's just Memphis. Like it is that small, middle-sized city vibe. And when you are in these festival-like scenarios, it does feel as if you are running into people around every single corner. And it was just a very fun thing to share with somebody who's not from here. And another highlight of why I love this place.
Yes, this weekend is great, but that's like this time of the year is great in Memphis because every weekend there is something happening, a large festival popping off. It starts, in my mind, it starts Africa in April, right? As soon as we hit April and we get to Africa in April, all right, buckle up, Buttercup. It's festival season. Let's get it going. I had the Black Food and Wine Fest a couple weeks ago, then followed that up with River Beat. Then this one, between River Beat and this one, there was a Greek Fest. Italian Fest got to be coming up here
around the
soon.
Corner. Somebody asked me over the weekend. They're like, "Well, I see you at Italian Fest." I was like, "Oh, I've never gone." They go,
"You've never
swing
gone
by
to Italian Fest?"
No, and I did Greek Fest for the first time. Shout out Giannis Antetokounmpo. He had a great Q&A over the weekend. Just love everything Giannis does, you know.
Italian Fest is a good festival.
I'll add that to my. I need to take a break from eating and drinking and being merry for just a hot second.
Italian Fest is like 2 weeks. Can you do 2 weeks?
I could rebound.
Maybe, just maybe, throwing it out here, maybe you don't do all 3 days. Maybe you don't shut the park down all 3 days.
Okay. Well,
maybe.
As you know, I came late because we missed on Friday because I had the team mentor, the Grizzlies mentor group. We had our final project where the project that the kids have been working on all year perform and get up and shout out to my kids at Soulsville who came in 3rd place at the Dream Jam situation that we had at Maceo. So I was late, and at that point they said the park was going to close at 8 p.m. on Friday. So I'm like flying back and telling myself to slow down because it's just Smoke Slam. Like, don't risk it all for the Smoke Slam. Ended up getting there. Someone was kind enough, my dear friend Freddie, to get me one of those 24-hour wristbands. And then I felt like I was on top of the world. I couldn't leave when I had a 24-hour wristband. It is what it is. Shout out to Hog Wild, who is always a tremendous host. Our friends Megan and Wyatt, who also brought their baby to Smoke Slam. That's sheer dedication. But they always have such good food. The barbecue pizza is amazing. Grill and Grind is a tent that we hang out at a lot, and they are always incredibly welcoming, and it's just fun. And then everywhere that I bopped about, I meant to write down everyone who was kind enough to give food and kind words, but I lost track of that throughout the 3-day of my festival. But shout out to everybody because I do love talking to people. People always apologize. They're like, oh, you probably don't want to talk about the NBA. You probably don't want to talk about the Grizzlies. And I do reach a limit. But for the most part, I genuinely love talking about it with people out in the wild. You know the number one question I got?
What?
I want you to guess what the number one question I got. And I got it over and over and over again.
Who are the Grizzlies going after in free agency?
No, that's what I thought.
What was it?
Is the NBA draft rigged?
Oh.
Over and over and over again. I came up with my go-to line that I will now be feeding everyone for the rest of eternity. If you believe that this year, particularly, the NBA draft was rigged and that it was all set in the stars, the moment that the Mavs traded Luka to the Lakers, they were promised that they would get the number 1 pick, then you also have to factor in that Kyrie Irving did a handshake deal to tear his ACL. And then it shuts him up. They're like, oh, that's rational. And I'm like, yes, let's continue onward with something
You've got
else.
10 days and a couple hours to prepare for Italian Fest. There it is.
Oh, sweet.
10 days, 6 hours, 45 minutes, 47, 46, 45, 44.
I will eat all the vegetables in the meantime and
This
get
is
my
carb
body
load
ready
right
for
here.
the carb.
Let's go.
They talk about like the freshman 15. Try the Memphis Festival 45.
Look at the ravioli.
Oh, that does look good.
Oh, it's a good time.
All right. Well, shout out everyone. Shout out Memphis. Really eventful sports weekend, which culminated with 2 Game 7s on a Sunday. I love when we have 2 Game 7s on a Sunday. And then both of those Game 7s ended up being bits of a dud. Watched a little bit of the Maple Leafs Panthers game while we were at dinner, and I was like, oh, sweet. I just come to this conclusion that there's no better Game 7 than a playoff hockey Game 7, and when we get home from dinner, we can watch the end of it, and it should be great. And then I watched the Panthers rattle off like 3 straight goals in the second period, and it was all but over, and the Maple Leafs lost yet another Game 7. I think like this core of players has lost something crazy, like 5 or 6 straight Game 7s where they've been in those scenarios. So stinks for them. Panthers move on. And then earlier in the afternoon, of course, was seated on the couch because I really needed some couch time, but was genuinely excited to watch Thunder Nuggets Game 7, spot in the Western Conference Finals on the line. And it was a game for a portion. And then it completely got out of control, and the Thunder go on to win 125-93. I was feeling really smug because like Chris was out on this game. The second Aaron Gordon comes out with the news that he has a hamstring strain, and at that point, you're like, certainly there's no way that Aaron Gordon is going to play in this game. He was like, oh, this stinks. Congratulations to the Thunder, moving right along. I stayed committed to the hope that we would still get an entertaining, competitive Game 7, and the Nuggets go up 11 early, and I'm like, oh, we got something. And then it's a 1-point game late in the second quarter, and I'm like, all right, we got some back and forth going. And then that game just completely flipped on its head. Like when it was 42-41 with 3:11 left in the first half, and they proceed to go on an 18-5 run to end that half. They led 60-46, which is not like a huge number in the NBA, like a 14-point lead at half. It's a game of runs. You can come back. But it felt over, and it felt like something had significantly shifted, and then that obviously carried over from their 39-point second quarter, a 37-point third quarter. They go up 43 at one point. I'm thinking, oh my God, are they going to have a Game 7 blowout that could eclipse the Grizzlies game? Because that's how I think of everything. Will anybody lose to the Thunder as drastically and devastatingly as the Grizzlies' 51-point loss? And ultimately, it doesn't end up being that big. But I just look at their defensive activity. The Nuggets had more turnovers than assists. And you don't see that all that often. But that run at the end of the second quarter, where it starts with the SGA 3 that put them up 9, and then it was Jokic bringing the ball up, and it's like the little swarm effect of Caruso and Jalen Williams, and Williams has the dunk on the other end. And then the next possession for the Nuggets, Christian Brown's trying to force a pass into Jokic, and who's there? It's Alex Caruso again, and he gets the steal. And suddenly, like in a blink, it goes from being a 6-point game to a 13-point game. And shout out to the Thunder. Like, they did it. They got their battle scars. They also obviously were, I don't want to say gifted, but they were the recipients of positive injury stakes for them. Like every single second round series was impacted by significant injuries, and the team that was less injured advanced. And the Thunder are one of those teams, but I don't want to take that away from their ability to get through this series, how they got better through this series, the adjustments they made. Alex Caruso ended up being the star of the show. How do you feel about Alex Caruso today? Because we've had some disagreements about Alex Caruso.
Listen, I don't mind what Caruso is, and that's a really good defender, somebody who you can say, all right, with the way we're calling the NBA games right now, you can put him on a big in today's NBA and then have him switch on to a guard. I understand that has value in this league. I was disappointed. I was more disappointed in Jokic's performance than I was impressed by what Caruso did. Caruso was down there fighting, and that's great to see, and I love to see that. And it was just like, made the Nuggets look real Grizzly-ish, made Jokic look real Jaren Jackson-ish, where the Thunder are being more physical, and instead of trying to meet that physicality, dudes are looking around begging the referees to call fouls. Instead of running him over to get where you wanted to get, you're running around throwing your arms up. The turnovers you're talking about, at the end of them, Jokic's like, where's the foul at? Well, clearly they're not calling that. So either you're going to make them call the foul by being as physical or more physical and actually moving dude out of your way, or you're just going to be content to sit there and get smacked around and lit up. At a certain point, you've got to make the adjustments, and I don't think that the Nuggets made the necessary adjustments in physicality in Game 7 that were warranted, and that's when the Thunder can get going, right? When they can swarm you and they can bully you off of your spots and bully you off of the ball as well. That's when they get that energy and that excitement, and those runs, they come in bunches. They don't come in spurts. They come for long periods of time. That one run you mentioned, the 18-5 to end the second quarter, and boom, they're right back in the third quarter on another long run. And I was just disappointed
I think it was like 28-5 total.
I was just really disappointed by the way the Nuggets went out there and got pushed around. Now, give credit to the Thunder for doing the pushing around.
Right.
But at a certain point, you've got to decide, all right, Game 7, somebody's catching the elbow.
Yeah.
I'm lowering this shoulder and I'm going through somebody's body. And the Nuggets just never did that, and that allowed the Thunder to really get into them.
Right, and I saw a lot of people be like, oh, yeah, of course Alex Caruso can be that effective when he's allowed to play an entirely different sport. He's out there playing football. Well, if that's how it's being officiated, you have to fight back on it. And that's
everybody knows this.
Yes.
Everybody knows
they were
this,
able
understands
to,
this.
But again, to your point, to the Thunder's credit, they were able to take advantage. They took advantage of that, and they took advantage of every single second that Jokic was on the bench. And when Jokic is on the bench for the Denver Nuggets, they turn into a pumpkin. Like, there is no ball, there is no Cinderella. And I'm not trying to give Jokic excuses because he did not have a very effective game, and I thought he got frustrated and also was in that position where the physicality of Caruso and just the swarm defense in its entirety by the Thunder just wore him down.
The frustration that he would probably feel with teammates who simply can't feed the post.
Yes.
This is atrocious. What we're doing to the post game in the NBA is god awful. It is terrible, and it starts in middle school and high school and carries on till college, where we just don't know how to make accurate post passes. We don't know how to fake low, come high, fake high, go low. All right, like it's terrible. Some of those passes they were hurling at Jokic had no touch, had no, they weren't taking anything off of it. He's having to tip it around to keep dudes from getting hands on it. It's just terrible. So all of those things frustrated him to the point to where he was like, okay, I just don't.
After the game, he said the next few days were probably going to be a lot of beer. And I was like, give the man beer and give him his horses. Jokic, you can rest now. You can rest now. But there does have to be this frustration where, like, you have the greatest player in the world, and ultimately the cast around him was not strong enough to carry them through. It was a 7-game series, so I don't want to say the Thunder just ran all over them. Like, it was a competitive series.
They gave Game 5 away.
Yes.
They gave Game 5 away. So as much as injury luck plays a part in this, sure, don't give games away.
I think that's
against
through
good
all
teams,
these series.
You can't give games away against good teams.
Yes, Boston Celtics. But I will, like, I have PTSD. Please don't yell at me again. Please.
I've been banned from
at me.
yelling, apparently.
Please don't yell at me. Please don't yell at me. It was crazy that Aaron Gordon played in that game yesterday, and like, shout out to him for having the fortitude. And you say everyone's injured in the playoffs, but playing with a grade 2 hamstring strain, I was convinced that we were going to watch his leg turn into like a spaghetti noodle at some point, and he obviously was hindered by it. He could not move well, and by the time you're getting to the start of the second half, he was really struggling to move. But you have him with the hamstring, you have Michael Porter Jr. dealing with the a shoulder injury that clearly impacted him throughout this series. And it just, again, like, every single second round matchup featured a notable injury to a top 3 player. And of those teams that had an injury for a top 3 player, they all lost. Like, it's the Nuggets with Aaron Gordon and Michael Porter Jr. It's the Warriors without Steph Curry. It's the Celtics, and I know a lot's going to get focused on Jason Tatum tearing his Achilles, but like you alluded to, CJ, the Celtics with Jason Tatum, gave up 2 20-point leads, and so that's a fact. But they're also playing with Kristaps Porzingis, who can't breathe, and Jaylen Brown, who had an injury of his own that he was dealing with. And then with the Cavs, obviously being without Darius Garland, and you have the game with Evan Mobley out as well, and Donovan Mitchell fighting through injuries. And it's a fact of a matter that other teams were able to benefit off the backs of injured teams. And a part of it does appear to be related to the scheduling of these NBA playoffs. And Aaron Gordon talked about it after the game, and of course he's going to talk about it because he's the one who just fought through an injury, but saying, like, yes, I think it would be beneficial to have a little bit more time between games, and ultimately you would have less blowouts and you would have better games, and the best players would be available on the court. That's what I would like to see. It is just something that contributes to the playoffs every year, but I do think it is getting worse. And I don't know why that is. And I know there are doctors spewing out all sorts of theories and what it means to be playing these games in basically every other day format, what it means for these players who essentially haven't had much time off through the entirety of their careers, from AAU through college, through professional, the Olympics playing a part in it this past year as well. But like, these bodies are breaking down and there's just so much money. I want to see the best players on the court. And those second round series each featured a scenario where we did not see that.
I'm not sure what having time off is going to do for you.
Who knows?
I don't know. And of the series you named, I'll give you credit for one where the injury mattered more than the play on the court, which was the Warriors one, right? Steph goes out immediately game one. It's like, okay, we kind of see what this is. The other ones, man, I laid it out there. I'm not going to yell.
I know, it's okay.
I laid it out there.
Thank you.
I laid it out there.
Thank you for your
real nice and neat.
Soft.
The Celtics blew a 20-point lead twice going into the fourth quarter. The Cavs allowed the Pacers to get wide open threes in game one, and they had a lead in the fourth quarter, and they blew that. They also were up 7 with 50 seconds left, and they blew that. All right, so I'm not sure about those. The Nuggets gave game 5 away. They were leading the entirety of that game. They were in control the entirety of that game. And then they gave it away in the fourth quarter. Yes.
Can I say something?
Well, you don't need to whisper.
Oh, sorry. I can use a normal
You can
voice.
talk.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
No, I completely agree. And on top of that, if you want to look at the teams that advance, and I will be very curious how these conference finals play out, and we'll get to the East where the Knicks beat the Celtics and New York exploded, and now it's Knicks Pacers. But you look at teams that have been rewarded for their depth, and you can talk about it from a standpoint of being able to go deep into your bench through the playoffs. And notoriously, it's like, okay, what do you do? Trust 6, trust 7 in the postseason? But you have a team like the Thunder that has so much talent riddled throughout the bench. You're like, oh, this player would have, and Isaiah Joe would be playing meaningful minutes on another team. And yesterday, Isaiah Joe only plays 3 minutes. Now, that's not to say he won't have a significant game in some portion of the Western Conference Finals, and between the other Jalen Williams and Wiggins and Caruso and Wallace. And then you look at a team like the Pacers, which also is built on a certain level of depth, and they're being rewarded for that. And I do think that helps too, because you're not having to overwork your main guys. Now, the Knicks, we will see how they hold up once we get into the Eastern Conference Finals. There's the woman who is doing reverse voodoo on Jalen Brunson every single day. She put him in a little ice bath. She put cucumbers on his eyes. Like, he's been at the spa. We'll see if his ankle holds up thanks to that. But it does feel precarious for the Knicks going into this series. But between the Timberwolves, the Thunder, the Pacers, and the Knicks, they are the healthiest teams moving forward. And that's just a fact of the matter. Like, it is what it is. And that's where we're at with the NBA. And I'm amped for these conference finals. Like, miss me with the, I wish that we had some blah, 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 blah. Like, no, these are great matchups.
Yeah, it's good. It's good basketball that's going to be out there, and for the basketball fans, you're being rewarded this year with not just the 4 best teams still around right now, but one of these 4 teams. We did all that bellyaching, all that crying about the Lakers dynasty, and then about the Spurs dynasty, and about the second coming of the Lakers dynasty, and about the Warriors and LeBron. We want more parity in this league. We already know who's going to the finals. Why do I need to watch anything? Well, now it's 4 teams who we don't get to see in the finals often. 4 teams who, one of these teams is getting their first championship. The Thunder get their first ever.
Can we say that? Like, there are some people who want to argue. They're like, oh, well, the Sonics got... No. The Sonics are not the Oklahoma City Thunder. I get that Oklahoma City
Do they
stole
have their
the
history?
team from, no.
Okay, so
I don't
then
think
it's
so.
the Thunder.
And like the Pacers won an ABA championship. It's different. It's different. Absolutely. No matter what, you're getting a team that hasn't won a championship in 50 years, and you have 3 options for a team that has never won a championship with the Thunder, the Timberwolves, and the Pacers. And the Knicks haven't won since 1973. That sounds
I don't
fun
know
to
why
me.
I thought the Timberwolves had one.
No.
That's a good point. No, Minnesota does have one, don't they? But they're the Lakers.
Yes. So same thing.
So yeah, I follow. So you're getting to see this. Somebody is going to change narratives around them. Halliburton, Edwards, Brunson, whoever else is out there, Shea, SGA, right? People are going to be changed. We're getting to witness the storyline play out now in a really cool and fun way, and in a way that we hadn't seen for a little bit now. The Bucks got up there and got that one. It's like, oh, look at them. The Raptors got up there and got that one. It's like, oh, look at them. But for the most part, we'll go from the 2010s on. It's been Warriors, whichever team LeBron is on, and you can throw in the
Celtics.
Spurs and the Mavericks, and you throw in the Celtics, right?
Yeah.
Like that's what you get most of the time, and it's good to see that is different. Parity is reigning supreme right now in the NBA. Got some small markets in there as well.
Yeah.
So if you're a small market franchise, you're like, okay, we can see ourselves in one of these smaller markets. And then you got the biggest of big markets, the Mecca, which is crazy. I had this conversation with the missus. The Mecca is the holiest of holy lands, right? And it just seems like if you are the basketball gods, and that is the Mecca, we all agree that New York City is the Mecca of basketball, you be a bit more forgiving to the Mecca. But the basketball gods have not been.
Don't you feel like it's like the 2 Meccas? Because if you also think about basketball in the United States of America, think about Indiana. And that's why I am of most excited.
You can't
for
have
Pacers.
2 Meccas.
Yeah, but like it's like the Holy Land. Like
The
Indiana
Mecca is the Holy Land.
basketball territory.
Yeah,
It's
so
like
is
the
New York
birthplace.
City.
I know.
And that's why it's going to be
It's
so
gonna be
much
so good.
fun. And we got
And
to see
obviously all the
for
history.
those that history.
If I don't get a Game 7, Reggie Miller on the call, last game ever for the NBA, or at least in the foreseeable future,
You
for
20-somethings
NBA on
just don't
TNT.
know.
Woo.
You 20-somethings just don't know. That Pacers Knicks thing, that is deep. That is in there. Both of them are basketball places. One of them is country and rural. The other one is big city, bright lights. It's going to be. Those fans haven't forgotten nor forgave. The fans haven't. So the players are just out there playing, and they're trying to get to an NBA Finals. That's all they're playing for. Those fan bases still dislike one another. It's going to be great. I can't wait to watch it.
I saw some people criticize Knicks fans for being too amped for their win over the Celtics, which put them into the Eastern Conference Finals. And I would like to push back on that because I think Knicks fans represent what I love most.
That's mild behavior.
They're
not Philly fans.
This guy is crowd
Okay, well, there
surfing.
goes some Philly
The guy
fans.
on
There we
top
go.
of here, and also like I don't condone this behavior because you can die. However, the scenes were spectacular. Some guy was up on a billboard. Everybody, I mean, the number of fans into the streets, and they're like, oh my God, they're crazy. This is just a Eastern Conference. No, you don't understand. Don't act like you've been here before. This Knicks organization, they know like every win could be your last. Every big, exciting win. That's how I want everybody to celebrate that way. And I was pro like Pat Bev getting up on the table and losing his damn mind in the play-in game. I think we should be a more excitable society. We like to hate everything. Knicks fans understand the fleeting of joy. And so when you have a moment, you capture that. You hold it in your hand. You get on that billboard. Not really. I don't want to be responsible for anybody climbing up on that kind of a surface. That is a very elevated surface, and you can fall a very long ways. But I just loved it. I want to be there. I want to be where the Knicks fans are. I want to bing bong because that looks so fun. And I do think if they were to have any scenario where they go up like 2-0 on the Pacers, you are going to have to call in the National Guard before they play a game at Madison Square Garden. And this is the conference finals. Imagine if the New York Knicks make it to the NBA finals. Imagine, if you will, for one moment, if the Knicks won a championship. I don't think they can have a parade. I don't think that they can have an organized parade.
No.
It will just be that. The streets will be flooded. The rats will come out of the sewers. Everybody will celebrate together. I think it'd be really fun.
It will be.
I think I'm
that
rooting for it.
It feels like they love their. We know they love their sports teams in New York. It feels like the Knicks are the creme de la creme.
Yes.
Right? Like, okay, we love the Yankees, but we'll take a championship from the Knicks over one from the Yankees because the Yankees have so many. We love the Giants. We love the Jets. We love whatever else is going on in New York. We love the Liberty.
Yes.
We love them.
And
But
they just celebrated their championship.
We need a men's basketball championship in the city of New York. We need it desperately.
In the Garden.
In the Garden?
The
Can you
holy
imagine?
space.
Game 6 against the Thunder in the Garden?
So I think it's I would most like to see Knicks Thunder. I have tantalized myself into the storyline opportunities for Knicks Timberwolves. Like, I don't think that's going to happen. I actually think we're probably going to get Thunder Pacers would be my pick.
Oh, really?
That's my pick to make it into the finals.
I'll go Knicks Thunder.
Okay. The Timberwolves, they could put it together. Don't get me wrong. At one point, we're watching the Thunder game yesterday, and Chris was like, I hate that the Thunder are being rewarded. They're frauds. And I was like, who isn't a fraud? If everyone's a fraud, then it takes away the power of the word the fraud. Like, you can make a fraud case for every single team left, for every team in the history of sports to some degree. I mean, I guess not technically, but at least in this scenario. For the sake of this argument.
you can do it for everybody.
And again, for a society that loves to hate, you're like, Timberwolves, losers. They got the Warriors without Steph. They were able to take down the Lakers. But instead of talking about how good the Timberwolves are, it's like, oh, God, the Lakers were so much worse in their defense and not having a center. And Jackson Hayes was atrocious. And why is he still playing in the league? I never miss an opportunity for that. But I do think that the Timberwolves, who leaned so heavily on Julius Randle in that series, I think it's a much different scenario for Julius Randle going up against the Thunder than taking advantage of the not-so-supersized Golden State Warriors and the not-so-supersized Los Angeles Lakers.
It'd be different for all of them. It'd be different for everybody who's accustomed to getting downhill and getting to the rim. Anthony Edwards, to his credit, a couple of games, those three-point shots weren't falling. He said, okay, F it, I'm just going to get to the rim. I can get by my guy, and there's no rim protector there to discourage me. I can get into a bit of a rhythm, and I can carry that rhythm throughout the course of the game. The big second quarter he was getting downhill, getting to the rim. You're not going to have that same sort of thing happening with the Thunder because they've got two quality, legit rim protectors in Chet and in Hartenstein. So you get downhill, you get to the rim. Cool, you're not going to be able to throw lobs to Rudy Gobert because there'll be size and length back there. It's going to be a bit more difficult for you to finish at the rim.
Do you play more Naz Reid?
You're going to have to. You're gonna have to play more Naz Reid than who though?
Than Rudy.
I was thinking you play Naz Reid at the 3 and just make it work and go get them and go Rudy, Naz, and Julius Randle and let's see what we can make happen. So that would be what I would do. You're gonna have to rely a bit more on being more perimeter-oriented, base focus, and that's going to be easier said than done because Dort is out there, so is Wiggins, so is Isaiah Joe, so is Alex Caruso, who's one of the best perimeter defenders in the NBA right now. That's just going to be difficult for you to handle. You got to figure it out, though, if you want to advance. You do. Again, didn't point this out. I'll say it one last and final time. If Jokic is the best of that big man, and you're forced to play zone with him in, this was a feather in the cap for the zone being for cowards. They gobbled that shit, which is what you're supposed to do, right? But if that's the best one of those, and that is being made to look that way on the defensive side of the ball, I'm not sure what hope there is for the others who are of that same ilk, and teams see them as legit pieces for a championship caliber team. You got to have a big who can get out there on the perimeter, or you got to have perimeter dudes who can fight over, around, and through screens for 48 minutes in a 7-game series. So, yeah, the Timberwolves, it'll be interesting to see what happens with Rudy, because Rudy might get played off the court, because Rudy is another one of those types of bigs. So we'll see. Chet being able to step out and make threes is such an important thing.
Also, are they ever going to name MVP?
Oh, we hadn't done that?
No. It's like the longest they've ever gone without naming MVP. I really thought that they were going to name it on Sunday morning going into Game 7. I thought it would be kind of funny. I guess I didn't think they would do it. I was hopeful that they would do it. And the assumption is still that SGA is the most likely winner of the MVP award. And then I was curious how Nikola Jokic could have gone like full God mode if he didn't get it. Although I really don't think that Nikola Jokic focuses on that kind of thing in a way that some players would. But instead, no, they didn't name it. And we still don't have the MVP of the year. And I don't know if they were just waiting until the weirdness of that series being over, trying to avoid a weird scenario where they name SGA MVP and then he loses. But like,
that's the best. That's
Hakeem
Olajuwon David Robinson.
So odd.
That's the best. Was that MVP or was that Defensive Player of the Year?
Wasn't that Defensive Player of the Year?
That might have been Defensive Player.
But same,
of the Year.
I mean, same
thing.
Yeah.
Let's do it. That's the only way awards should be announced. With you facing off against the dude who you beat for said award. Let's do it.
Gary Parrish will join us after a quick break. We'll talk to him about the NBA Conference Finals being set. We'll also chat with him about the EYBL event that was in Memphis this weekend, one of the biggest high school AAU events in the country. College coaches from all over the country were in town. I saw that Penny Hardaway sat down with John Calipari for a podcast episode, with Kelvin Sampson for a podcast episode, and John Morant had a big event with his Kool Aid Jaw 2 collaboration. So we'll get into all that with GP after a quick break.
Grizzlies fans know it's the team that gives you the edge. Big River Steel does too. And much like the Grizzlies have recruited legendary talent, we want you to be part of our team. Are you ready to be part of something legendary? Then visit www.bigriversteel.com. That's www.bigriversteel.com.
Let's face it, there's a lot of trash talk in basketball, but the great teams let their performance do the talking. Like Ford F-150 with Pro Power on board, a class-exclusive industry-first feature that turns your truck into a mobile generator and leaves the competition speechless. Ford F-150, official truck of the Grizzlies. Greatness starts here at your Mid-South Ford dealer. Class is full-size pickups under 8,500 pounds, GVWR.
You've seen the Grizz line jamming on the court and rocking out on Beale Street, and this is your chance to join the best drum line in the NBA. Grizz line entertains Grizz Nation at home games and events in the Mid-South through their impressive techniques and energetic shows. If you have experience in drumming and marching and love entertaining, Grizz line is the perfect opportunity for you to combine percussion and performance. Open auditions are Saturday, August 9th at FedEx Forum. Sign up today by visiting grizzlies.com/auditions.
1, 2, 3. Ready, go.
Dance Kid Dance Tour. Live in Memphis. FedEx Forum, Saturday, August 30th. With special guests, Bush and Morgan Wade. Get tickets now at livenation.com. Shinedown, live in concert. For more, visit shinedown.com.
I got some Cam Ward news for you, by the way.
Let me hear it.
You talk about being able to sell some jerseys. 7 minutes ago at his introductory press conference in Nashville, Warren Moon walks in. I give you permission to wear number 1.
Oh, wow.
He hands him the number 1 jersey.
Oh, that's amazing.
I'm going to give you permission to wear number 1. So he's going to have the number 1 Cam Ward jersey.
That's amazing.
We're rocking the Cam Ward number 1 Titans jersey.
That's amazing.
The Chris Vernon Show, live on weekdays at noon on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
The other thing that came out this week that we were talking about innovation and Nike and all that, they dropped these $900 hyper boots that
900.
I mean, they're a recovery shoe apparently that you wear after sports, whatever.
Who's buying it? Because all the athletes that we see, they're going to get seeded this. So who's going to actually pay $900 for this?
The Sneak Fest Show, live Tuesdays at 2 p.m. on Grind City Media on X, YouTube, and the official Grind City Media mobile app.
We talked a little bit about Jalen Wells. Jalen Wells, man, he finished third in the balloting for NBA Rookie of the Year. He's going to be back. He's going to play in Summer League, and maybe he'll shoot some left-handed jumpers out there. Hey, Grizzlies fans, be sure to tune in to Grizzbeat, where the panel and I break down all things Grizzlies and take a look at the rest of the NBA as well. The show is live every Wednesday, 2 p.m. on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
Welcome back. It is Monday. It is time to catch up with Gary Parrish, host of The Gary Parrish Show, weekday mornings at 10 a.m. on Grind City Media. He joins us now, and I regret to inform the people that Gary is on the IR.
Wait till you see the status update from the status report from @GrizzliesPR.
No, we get breaks from Grizzlies PR. Come on. Like, the Grizzlies PR off-season tweets
we need
would
'em.
be the most terrifying.
It's just too much.
It's like what could have happened?
I don't need to hear from you again till October.
Yeah, no.
I love
you can
Grizzlies
rest.
PR.
You can rest now.
Yeah, but if there were going to be a status report issued today at 5:01 p.m. Central, it would say Gary Parrish is questionable weekend tea time with a grade 1 left hamstring strain. And I'm only saying grade 1 because I don't want you to feel too bad for me. But it could be a grade 2.
You did limp significantly. I thought you were joking, and for people don't know how you walk around these offices, but you tend to lurk around corners and kind of like creep and crouch.
Yes.
And so I thought you were just doing a bit, and then you were like, "No, my hamstring's not quite right." Did you say how you did it?
Well, I don't quite know how I did it. I wasn't trying to complete any unusual task. I have stairs in my home, and they've been there for a while. I was really just trying to walk up them. We had a long weekend of baseball in Oxford, Mississippi, and we didn't get home till around midnight last night. And if you want to go, Jesus, why would you be playing 8-year-old baseball on a Sunday night till after 10 o'clock, an hour away from home? That's an incredible point. It makes no sense whatsoever. But we get home, and I just go upstairs, because like a lot of the stuff I enjoy, it's all upstairs. And so I said, I'm going to walk upstairs, and I got halfway up the stairs, and I stepped, and I felt something. I don't want to say pop, but do something it's not supposed to do, and I collapsed. My wife is downstairs. She goes, "Are you okay?" This is what I hear. I said, "I don't know. I think I just strained my hamstring." And she said, "Doing what?" And I said, "I'm just walking up the stairs. This is exactly like what happened to Steph Curry." And she's like, "But Steph Curry was playing basketball. What were you doing?" I was just walking upstairs. I don't know. I'm waiting. I'm like 5 years away, it feels like, from just falling over and breaking my hip. You know how when you hear somebody like your great grandma, it's like, Granny, she just broke her hip.
Yeah.
It feels like that's where I'm headed, sooner rather than later. I have a hamstring
usually
strain
when
right
great
now.
granny breaks the hip, she dies. If you break your hip in 5 years, I do think you have a good recovery path forward. Modern medicine is a tremendous thing.
That's nice to hear.
I saw Jason Tatum get Achilles surgery within like 8 hours of tearing his Achilles.
Hey,
and
I
they
read
say you
some
could have
doctor-
the fastest recovery ever.
I heard some doctors say that that's actually really smart and beneficial.
Yes.
Okay, I didn't read it.
That's what they say.
I stopped reading at that
There's
point,
a lot of
so I don't
studies.
know why.
I've kind of stopped obsessing over the Achilles, different paths towards recovery, because there are some doctors who, and you see every athlete still gets surgery, but outside of the athlete community, like there is a real discussion to be had about non-operative route versus having surgery.
Sure.
And I think it's mostly because for normal humans, we don't think about the act of surgery and how dangerous it is inherently. Infections, things can go wrong. Like if you have something wrong with your body that can pop up with your heart or how your organs work or whatnot. But everyone is still getting surgery. So I was like, yes, I'm getting surgery. All the athletes are getting surgery.
Well, you're too young to not get surgery.
Yes, exactly. I have big plans ahead.
That's right.
Although I was wearing like little cowboy boots down at the river for Smoke Slam, and I was like, oh, my Achilles.
But if you
doesn't feel like that of a 33-year-old.
But if you tore your ACL at 67 years old, there might be a conversation to be had about you don't really need to repair
like,
this.
what do you need to repair it for?
Right.
What are you trying to do?
Just
anyway, I hope you don't
just
need
watch Family Feud.
Surgery.
Just get on your couch and watch Family Feud.
Go for a light walk and watch Family Feud.
I will say I'm not glad this happened.
Yeah.
Obviously, because first and foremost, it just hurts.
Yeah, dealing
but
with that
beyond that,
sucks.
like I do like to do things that that this will hamper. I will say, because hamstring injuries are impossible to see. ACLs, you see that.
Yeah.
Turned ankles, you see that. And Achilles, you see that. A hamstring, it's just like.
Something hurts.
And then Steph Curry, literally walks off the court and he knows he's done.
Yeah.
And I know there are people out there be like, how do you just know you're done? Just trust me, as somebody who did this less than 12 hours ago, you immediately know that you're done. And I didn't need to run off of screens the rest of the night.
When I was a kid, my go-to injury, it became like a running thing. My hamstring.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, I think I tore my hamstring.
Yeah.
And my mom and dad would be like, you did not tear your hamstring. Or my friends out at recess. I remember one time I did a flip off the monkey bars and I came down wrong. And I was like, my hamstring. I tore my hamstring. And just stop being dramatic. You did not tear you're 9. You didn't tear your hamstring.
Right.
But I was just obsessed with the thought of anything remotely feeling weird on my leg.
Right.
I determined that I had torn my hamstring. Knock on wood. I have never torn my hamstring. I hope you do not have an actual, I hope it's a strain.
Yeah, I started with strain.
Tear.
It didn't even occur to me that it could be torn. But
I
now
don't even know. Can it be torn? I think so.
I mean, I guess it feels torn. It feels awful.
Hey, CJ, pharmacy school. You can tear your hamstring, right?
Yeah, it's a muscle. Yeah, you tear hamstring.
What if I have a torn hamstring?
Well,
what in the world?
Get that hammy fixed. So you were at baseball again over the weekend. That's where you are every weekend.
That's right.
You were not able to go to the Nike EYBL event?
No, and I hate that. And I shouldn't say wasn't able to go. I could just ignore my kids the way I do every November, December, January, February, and March and go.
Those are the months that you get to ignore your kids.
Yeah,
have to for the sake of your
job.
Well,
that's even an interesting phrase that, that you could get into therapy and talk about. Do you really have to do all this stuff? You have a pretty good job that just takes you from home to downtown Memphis and back and forth. Do you really have to do? Gary, let's think about this for a second. How
does that make you feel?
Do you have to go to New York as much as you do to do your job? What are you chasing and at what expense? If you want to talk about that, we can talk about it. But I have made a decision that I do clearly miss things in the winter and spend that time watching, by definition, other people's kids. And once I'm home, if I have the option to watch my kids or somebody else's kids, I'm just going to go watch my kids.
Right.
And if it makes me less of a basketball reporter, then I'll deal with that.
It looked like an awesome event.
Oh, it is.
I also had small FOMO, and we have friends in town, and we were going to Smoke Slam, and I thought, though, at one point, what if we went to the barbecue fest over at the Liberty Bowl and then walked on over to the Memphis Sports and Event Center and just popped into EYBL for a minute? Because it just felt like the energy around that space was awesome, and the fact that it was a live session, so college coaches could be there, big names, big faces.
I mean, the biggest, everybody.
Yeah, and the only other live event this year is Peach Jam, right?
It is. It's the biggest. I don't know if it's the only, but it is the biggest.
But from your chair, how important is it that Memphis has this event?
Well, you talk about this all the time, more specifically to downtown.
Yeah.
But you are bringing people from all over the country into our city, and they have to have hotel rooms, and they have to have rental cars, or they have to use Ubers, and they have to eat at restaurants. These are big magnets that bring real money into our city, and God knows we need it. We need as many people coming into that airport and exiting the front doors.
God, it's a beautiful airport.
It really is. And experiencing our city. We need as many people who can do that as possible. And on a much lower level, just to tie all this stuff back together, we are in Oxford or Tupelo or somewhere like that every weekend. They build these complexes, and then people like us travel there. And you know what we have to do every weekend? We have to go somewhere and eat.
Yeah.
We have to, spend money in these communities that we otherwise just would not be in. I mean, there was a place we had a few hours in between games yesterday because that's great scheduling. And for 8-year-old baseball, you should always have 4 hours in between games. So you got to go somewhere. So suddenly this entire restaurant that might otherwise be empty on a Sunday afternoon is filled up.
Yeah.
I mean, they're doing thousands of dollars of business simply because this little baseball tournament's there. Now take that and multiply it by 20. Because that's what this thing is here in Memphis. So just bringing all how important is it for Memphis to have that? For those reasons more than anything else. If you want to make it a bigger conversation, for Penny Hardaway, it's helpful.
Yeah.
If you were ever recruiting somebody 2 years from now, 4 years from now, 6 years from now, they are probably, Memphis is not going to sound foreign to them. Oh, I've been to Memphis. I know that airport. I've been to Beale Street. I went to this restaurant there. These kids are growing up coming to Memphis annually. And that's a big deal. It makes the city feel like more of a real place than some of the stuff you see on the news.
Yeah, it's both from like Penny Hardaway, his assistants, it's their home turf.
Sure.
So anytime you have the comfort of this is our place, come to this city, have a good time at this event, and the Memphis Sports and Event Center has done a tremendous job of just having the layout that works for it. It looks nice. I know there's plans to expand on the. We're not calling it Liberty Land. Liberty Park,
Liberty
sorry.
Park.
I wasn't even here for Liberty Land.
I
so
would
don't
be
even know
happy to
that.
call it Liberty Land.
But I thought that was very cool. And then you throw on the added piece of Ja Morant being there and having the Ja 2 Kool Aid collab come out, which was awesome.
Yes.
Like just a tremendous rollout in general, where certain people got the canisters with the shoes inside of them and like the nutrition facts on the back of the can saying things like explosiveness, 100, and at one point I think on the bottom it says like aura. What is aura? Aura off the charts, handles elite, clutch factor 110%, assist team first. Anyway, these shoes are awesome. The mixed berry, you get the blue raspberry, the cherry. It struck me seeing him be at the event that pops off at EYBL, but also a girl from my high school who we haven't spoken, but she knows because we're on Instagram and we all know way too much about each other's lives.
Sure.
And so she sent me a message and she was like, my son is obsessed with Ja Morant and obsessed with these Kool Aid shoes.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure she was trying to like itch to see if I had a connection that I could get her son some Kool Aid shoes, and I like didn't bite on it. I was like, oh, that's great. I'm so glad your son sports.
Yeah.
But it reminded me
Footlocker.com.
of here's a link.
Oh, I get that all the time.
But it was
do you know where we could get tickets for Grizzlies tonight?
Yeah, Ticketmaster has some great options.
Ticketmaster's wonderful. You can get there from Grizzlies.com.
Yeah,
or
FedEx Forum box office.
I use StubHub sometimes.
Yeah.
Whatever. But sure, all the time.
It just struck me like the star power of Ja, and I get very hung up on this when it comes to even the off-season conversations around the Grizzlies and what they should do when it comes to the big three and Ja Morant. Do you just tear everything down and build around him, or what's the best option for this team moving forward? And what I always stand by and will continue to stand by is, and you never say never, so I don't want to be hyperbolic, but the odds of having a player with the star reach of Ja Morant in this city sometime in the foreseeable future is incredibly small. And it really is a remarkable thing that Ja is Memphis. And again, the connectivity of somebody from the outside saying, that's Ja Morant of the Memphis Grizzlies. Look at this event that happened in Memphis. Look at all these people who were lined up to have the chance to meet Ja, all these kids who want to wear the Ja shoes. And it just kind of culminates in this very special thing. Like the idea of what is a star, I find just a constantly fascinating. Scottie Scheffler this weekend wins PGA Championship. I think most people, if they saw Scottie Scheffler out and about, would not be able to recognize Scottie Scheffler.
At this point, he's starting to break through, though.
You think he is?
In part because of the arrest.
I'm so glad that he got out of jail and changed his life.
I saw those.
The Nike ad was great.
Yes. I saw somebody tweet he messed up. He went to jail. He got out.
He served his time.
He's had no issues since then. This shows that the system works.
But he is, and I agree. I think his star is rising where he expands out of the golf world. But like when you just
I think 2 years ago, unless you were a golf fan, you didn't know Scottie Scheffler.
No.
And I think now you can never watch golf but still be aware there is a golfer who is better than everybody else, and he's the one who went to jail for a day, and his name's Scottie Scheffler. I think you know that.
I think the jail thing helped him.
Yes, 100%.
It helped build the image. Absolutely.
Yes, 100%. In part, just because it's hilarious, but then we got all the body cam footage.
Yes.
And he just looks cool. He just not cool. Maybe that's not the right word.
Shirt.
But he's like not being a jerk.
Right.
He's not freaking out.
Right.
He's not doing that. You don't know who I am.
Right.
The cop even at one point says, "So you must be pretty good if you're playing in this golf tournament." And his response is quite literally, "I'm okay." Then the guy's like, "You ever play with Tiger Woods?" At that point, you could say, "Yeah, I am Tiger Woods. I am the Tiger Woods of right now."
And that's what's crazy. And it goes back to
you know what he says? He says, "Yeah, he's the best." So all of it helped him. But to your point about Ja,
wait, really? Did you see the picture of Scottie and his baby?
Yes.
Adorable.
Yes.
I love it. I had a lot of thoughts on. This was about to sound. I was going to say I had a lot of thoughts about babies this week, but that's just because I was around. No, I was just around babies.
Interesting.
Because my friend brought her baby to Smoke Slam, and that baby.
Let's see who's going to be doing these post-game interviews in say February or so.
I'm not having a baby.
Okay.
God, being a woman in this industry, you always have to constantly be on the defense. Like, not right now. I promise, it's not a good time. We'll think about the next off season.
You need to figure out when it's going to be a good time for the organization for you to.
That's what I hear.
For you to
that's what I hear.
Add to your family. This isn't just about you and your husband.
Do I play for the Las Vegas Aces? Like, is there a situation coming up? No, but what I was going to ask you, as somebody who has had a lot of cool experiences, and like you take your kids places, what was the wildest place that you ever took your baby?
Baby.
Like a baby, like an infant.
I mean, Aiden was at a Duke. This isn't wild.
But just like a cool event.
I mean, if you remember Duke Memphis playing, I want to say the day after Thanksgiving, 2006 is when Memphis went on to get a 1 seed in the tournament and then lost to UCLA in the Elite Eight in Oakland. That year, I believe this is all right, they played J.J. Redick and Duke in the Madison Square Garden, and baby Aiden was there.
Do you have headphones? Or did you just raw dog
It
those
is funny.
ears?
You'll learn this. Perhaps you'll learn this someday. We probably did have headphones.
Okay.
It is so funny, the difference in the way that you care about things your young children do. The first one.
Yes.
I don't want to be naive. Like Aiden could, end up with any sort of problems that any young person ends up with. But to my knowledge, at least, he has never had a carbonated drink. And it's because we decided we're not going to let our kids have cola and soda.
He's never had a carbonated
I don't
drink?
believe at the age of 22 he's ever had a carbonated drink. Now, he might be watching this and laughing and being like, my dad's so
probiotic
stupid.
sodas every day.
But
a little LaCroix.
Yeah, I don't think he's ever had a carbonated drink. I don't believe that. I've never witnessed it, and my understanding is that we just kept things from him, and he just never went down that path. All right?
Okay.
Yesterday, Louie's just drinking a Diet Coke out of a can. Nobody cares. It's just like it's just like, whatever, I'm over it. So we probably had headphones on Aiden when he was a baby at the Garden. And if Louie were, we just took Louie to Kendrick Lamar. We just took Louie to Kendrick Lamar with his chains on.
Good.
So that's the difference in third child
From
versus
one to the next.
one to the third. It changes dramatically. But I do kind of like that Aiden, he doesn't have the memory. He has no recollection of it.
Yeah.
But I like if he were to turn on Pacers Knicks and somebody would be like, man, look at Madison Square Garden. That looks amazing. If he wanted to say, the first game I ever went to was in that building, and it was Duke and Memphis, and he would have that story.
Oh, yeah. I grew up, my favorite story of my babydom was I went to, I think it was a Holiday Bowl, and whatever it was, Fresno State was playing, and I threw up on the Fresno State athletic director's wife. I just vomited, and my mom didn't have the right change of clothes, and everyone was very good about it. But I thought that was the funniest story. I was like, yeah, I was at a college football game when I was a baby, and I threw up on someone important. That was so funny to me. And I know babies don't actually remember, but the pictures last forever, and the stories last forever, and I think it is very fun to get them out of the house and do things. Anyway, back to Ja, which was my overall point.
Here's what I was going to say about Ja Morant, because you touch on something important, and I think it's something that we are sometimes too close to, perhaps even too old, maybe more me than you, to really recognize, because we tend to get too caught up on the day-to-day, and Ja Morant's out with it. We tend to spend more time getting frustrated by his lack of availability. And I think some of the fans around here do as well, as opposed to just recognizing the way this guy is viewed, not universally, but almost universally by children.
Yes, that's what I get stuck on. He has the most impact with kids since Steph Curry.
Adults still get their jokes off.
Yes.
I mean, you probably saw the Caleb Presley. Yes. Yeah, I mean, I can laugh at funny things as well, but that's still a thing that he's dealing with adults. And kids will still make their jokes. But kids love this guy.
The Kool Aid man doing the grenade is hysterical.
Well, then you had Ronald Acuna doing it.
Everybody's doing it.
When my son plays baseball, he bounces around like a basketball player. Yesterday, I had multiple people say, he's bouncing around on the baseball field like he's a basketball player. And that's because he likes basketball. And he's bouncing around. When he sees Ja yell after something cool, it makes Louie want to slide into second and bounce up and yell, because he's taking all these cues from Ja Morant.
Yes.
And I will tell you, there's a baseball's not as big as basketball in America, in the world. But there is a baseball equivalent to this right now, and it's Ellie De La Cruz in Cincinnati. I just noticed at one point I picked up my son's iPad. This was last summer. And the screensaver had been John Morant or Patrick Mahomes or something like that. And suddenly it was Ellie De La Cruz. And it's the chains, it's the hair, it's the long home runs, it's just the cool factor. And I remember going to baseball practice, and I just sort of talking to the other kids. And I'd be like, who's your favorite baseball player? Because the year before, kids would fight over the number 99 because of Aaron Judge. Every 8-year-old baseball team you
Wanted
see
to be 99.
will have a 99 on it, all right? They'll also have a kid named Easton and Knox. But every baseball team has a 99, and it is because of Aaron Judge.
Yeah.
I went and talked to these little 8-year-old, 7-year-old baseball players. Who's your favorite baseball player? Ellie De La Cruz. Ellie De La Cruz. Like, 9 out of 12 said Ellie De La Cruz. You get Austin Riley here or there because of where he's from, but it's Ellie De La Cruz. This guy plays in Cincinnati. He's not on a World Series team. Every kid knows him because of YouTube, because of their iPads. And John Morant is the basketball version of that. Ellie De La Cruz is the poor man's version of John Morant for baseball. Baseball's not as big, but John Morant still, despite all the whatever, connects with young people, I think, as well. I don't want to say better than, but certainly as well as any basketball player in the world.
Completely agree. And I think sometimes, and I might be too hung up on the impact side of it, whereas when people get frustrated with the availability in the day-to-day, I constantly revert to it's such a special thing to have here. And again, at the end of the day, like, the goal is to win a championship.
Ultimately, you got to play, and you got to be awesome, and you got to win and have success, or it doesn't.
Look what we're seeing right now with Jalen Brunson and Tyrese Halliburton and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander all taking this leap forward in how they will be viewed narratively in the sport, because they are now and Anthony Edwards as well, back in the Western Conference Finals. And like, all of that stuff absolutely matters. But even as I was scrolling through TikTok, I've kind of ended up on like kid basketball TikTok at times. And like, the number of jaw edits are insane.
Yes.
And even there was a trivia guy who popped up, and the question was, which of these teams still has never made it to the NBA Finals? And so obviously one of the answers is the Grizzlies. And the clue that the guy gave the kid who was hung up it was a young kid, and the guy just says Murray State. And the kid goes, John Morant and the Memphis Grizzlies.
Right.
And I was like, who is this child who knows anything about Murray State? And it's all because of Ja. And there really is. I know so many people are wanting to find the face of the league, and is it Anthony Edwards, and what is the charisma factor, and who gets to be a star? But like, the kids absolutely love Ja, and this weekend was another indication
It could be,
of that.
and still could be Ja Morant.
Sure.
But it's also disappointing. Maybe that's too strong of a word. It's just, you can look up right now, and there's 4 teams left, and one of them is led by Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, and one of them is led by Anthony Edwards, and one of them is led by Tyrese Halliburton, and one of them is led by Jalen Brunson. These are like your peers. Your, like, if we're looking for other young dudes, and I know Shai's from Canada, but like, the other 3 are American, like young dudes who could be the face of the league, and they're all here.
Yeah.
And there's a moment in time not too long ago where people would rank you ahead of literally all of them. And it's not too late to get back to that, but the clock is ticking. And I don't know that as many people expect it today as they did 2 years ago. You see the tweets from various NBA reporters. I don't want to put a name on it because I don't want to mix it up. But like, there was one NBA reporter within the past couple of weeks was like, hey, when I talk to NBA front office people about Ja Morant, they don't talk about him the same way they used to talk about him. And I understand why, but I still do believe when he is healthy and available, which isn't as often as it needs to be. Like, we don't have to, lie to each other.
That is a fact.
That's a fact. But when he is healthy and available and not hampered by anything, he's still, I think, clearly the most exciting player in the world, and also one of the best. But nobody wants to hear that when you're playing 50 games and getting swept out of the playoffs. You gotta, at some point, the stuff that's happening right now, the streets of New York weren't filled the other night because Jalen Brunson did a 360 layup. It's because the Knicks won.
Jalen Brunson
That's the most important thing.
I'm pretty sure Jalen Brunson could win a mayoral race against Eric Adams at this point.
I think a lot of people probably
I think a lot of people would vote. A lot of people could. Yeah, probably a bad example.
but I get your point.
You get what I'm saying.
Yes.
But the bottom line is, it's because of him taking this team to a land that they have been chasing for decades at this point. And same thing, like, again.
Yeah, kids
this
don't
can
want to watch
change.
Jalen Brunson highlights.
No.
And kids don't want to buy Jalen Brunson shoes, but people
fans
want to
of
be
a
fans.
team
Want
to chase a
fans
championship.
of a team want to be fans of a team that is being done like the Knicks are being done right now.
Man, I want to be a part of those fans. I want to be with Timothy Chalamet after a
It looks like a
Knicks win. It
blast.
looks like the most fun thing in the world.
And I heard you guys talking earlier about what you want in terms of the NBA Finals versus what you expect, and I think you can have different answers to those questions. But New York City is a character in this postseason.
Yes.
Not just the Knicks, not just Jalen Brunson, not Karl Anthony Towns. New York City is a character if you think of this as all television, that's really what it is. It's television.
Sports are TV. Sports are entertainment. I hate to break it to people.
New York is a character in this postseason. The Pacers are really impressive. Rick Carlisle's an all-time great. This is better if the Knicks are around as long as possible.
The TV executives would very much like the New York Knicks to be in the NBA
And I will say, and I heard you earlier say there's some people who hey, calm down. You guys are just won the Eastern Conference semifinals over a team that lost its best player. Relax a little bit.
Yeah.
And I get that, but like one of my bosses is a lifelong Knicks fan. You know, a lot of them are, but like this one guy in particular. And he went to the game on, whenever it was, game 6, the clinching game.
Yeah.
And this is this isn't a guy that gets real emotional. And this isn't a guy who is all like raw. He don't walk in every day in a Knicks hat talking about, F Boston. He's a serious, he's the guy who if I get an email that says, hey, GP, can you be in studio this night? This is the guy who sends that email.
Yeah.
He's in the garden, he's crying. He's literally in tears.
I love that.
I don't ever want to take that away from anybody.
Yeah.
Man, cry good tears as often as you can.
Cry good tears, celebrate things. God, life is hard enough.
Yes.
When something fun happens to something that you care about,
right.
Enjoy the hell out of it. It's not that serious.
This guy been waiting to just feel that for a long time. And to me, that was both striking and important. For anybody who says, it's just this, you don't need to feel that. You don't know how long they've been feeling the other way.
Right.
And how often they thought this would never happen.
Right.
Or happen again. And now here they are. And guess what? If they get through this one, they just cry again. And then if you win the whole championship, just cry again. But
and there is a likability factor with the team too, which I do think helps.
They seem to like each other.
Yes.
They seem very likable.
They play hard. I know Tibbs isn't necessarily a likable, which is funny that the team almost usurps.
And people like to make fun of Karl Anthony Towns, but
that's my slay of a basketball player right
there.
there.
But whether it's just everything about it. You see the picture of Timothy Chalamet getting an autograph from Amari Stoudemire when he's a kid, and then kicking it with Amari Stoudemire at the Knicks game.
Spike Lee is good
Stephon
energy.
Marbury's there.
Ben Stiller's has become
there.
a voice of it.
And there's Timothy, and then I know people get tired of them, but Kylie and Kendall being courtside is a big deal. It's a big. Those are billionaire women, two of the most famous young women in the world.
And then you add the Jordan Woods part of it, Karl Anthony Towns'
Right.
partner, and the friendships there, and there's just a lot.
Yeah,
and Mariska Hargitay is always there, and who doesn't love Law and Order SVU? It's fun. I enjoy it. I know some people hate celebrity. It's such a shake fist calling. I'm so sick of celebrities, but they drive conversation and they're there, and it does make the entire character of New York. Before I let you go, on the flip side, in the Western Conference, you have the Thunder and the Timberwolves, and this Thunder team that won 68 games, and there was a lot of question on, were they battle tested enough? Did they have enough maturity to make it? And again, there are Western Conference final games to be played. They are not in the NBA Finals yet. They are on the odds-on favorite, and their odds are heavy. I think they were minus 175.
People always love to put it like this. If you could take this team or the field, what would you do?
Most people are taking the Thunder.
Right now, the Thunder is the smart bet. I'll give you the Timberwolves, Knicks, Pacers. Just give me the Thunder, and the betting markets say I'm on the right side of this.
How do you feel about the Thunder? Not their odds.
I love them.
You love them. Because so many people really hate this team.
What I really hate more than the team is the people who can't see what is right in front of them, which is an elite basketball team capable of winning a championship. I don't care about Oklahoma City or the Thunder inherently, but I do appreciate greatness, and I do like people dispelling of narratives or whatever else that I don't completely buy in to. So Vernon and I had this conversation, and we laugh about it. Like, we're on totally different sides of this. Now, we can laugh about it and joke about it and whatever, but like, we are on totally different sides of this. He fundamentally believes, and it's all rooted in history. Like, I'm not even, like, I see where he's coming from. He just says teams like this don't win championships. They're too young. They don't have enough battle scars. The stat he throws out all the time is, you know, like 37 of the past 41 champions or something like that have been in the conference finals within a 3-year period of them breaking through and winning the whole thing. If that doesn't apply to you, that ain't happening for you. Well, I would just point out accurately that if you want to say teams like the Thunder don't usually break through and win it all, fine. But don't say they never do, because they sometimes do. And our most recent dynasty is an example of this. The Golden State Warriors did not get all these battle scars that people think they got. The Golden State Warriors, do you know what their playoff record was? After drafting Steph Curry, heading into the season in which they won the championship for the first time.
Tell me.
9-10. They were 9-10 in playoff games since drafting Steph Curry and had never been to the Western Conference Finals. And then tell me if any of this sounds familiar. In Steph Curry's 6th year with Golden State, he had an MVP caliber season. They had a historically great regular season. And then they won the championship. Okay? Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is in his 6th season right now with Oklahoma City. He is about to be named the MVP. And they just had a historically incredible regular season. So rather than look at all the teams that needed the battle scars to break through and win the whole thing, I'm more interested in, I'll look at the most recent dynasty we had and recognize they didn't have any of the stuff you're talking about. And they ran through the whole thing. I want to be clear, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is not Steph Curry. And this Thunder team is not that Warriors team. But you do not have to be better than those Warriors to win this championship. You do not have to be better than the Michael Jordan Bulls to win this championship. You don't have to beat LeBron to win this championship. You know what you have to do? Here we are. You know what you got to do? You got to be better than the Timberwolves, and then you got to be better than either the Knicks or the Pacers. I just told you 3 franchises that nobody thought could win a championship 2 months ago. That's all you have to do what it is people keep saying you can't do. That makes no sense to me. Logically, that just falls apart. So Thunder up. I'm rooting like crazy for them.
And the piece of it, too, is they don't need Shai Gilgeous-Alexander to be Steph Curry. I mean, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander ended up putting together a good game last night, 35 points.
Yes.
The bulk of the run that like flipped this game, not the bulk of it, but a portion of it, he was on the bench.
Right.
And I do think it is this testament. And as we talk about how teams are going to be built moving forward, we look at a team like the Celtics that won a championship, felt poised to be in a position where that would be the first of perhaps many, or at least one more if they were able to get it this year. And I know all the conversation about having to potentially break up the roster and figuring things out with the new CBA. But you have that. You have the Nuggets, who got one with Jokic, and now what do things look like for them moving forward? It's how teams are built that is going to propel them into this world of parity. And I try not to be a prisoner of like a one postseason moment. Like, is this indicative of how things are going to be in the future? We don't know, but it really could be. And teams like the Thunder being rewarded for depth and their defense. And the 2 questions, do those things hold up in the postseason? Thus far, they have.
We went through a Big 3 era. I don't think that exists anymore.
No.
Because I don't think you can afford to keep it together.
Yeah.
Like, first off, you try to build the Big 3. It seems like more often than not, you end up becoming the Phoenix Suns than the Golden State Warriors.
Or before that, the Brooklyn Nets.
There you go. And even if you become the Golden State Warriors, you know what you're going to find out with all these aprons and everything? You can't keep it together.
Yeah.
You can't pay all this.
I hate aprons.
I hate aprons as well. Like,
as an anti-kitchen woman, I hate an apron.
In all seriousness, I hate the idea that you can identify prospects, draft them, develop them, and then make them so good that you can't
afford to keep
you can't
them.
afford to
I
keep
agree.
them. I think there should be something in the CBA that allows you to,
if it's that version.
if this is your thing, you should be able to keep it together without having to spend $500 million on it, right? But that's a argument for the CBA, for the NBA and the Players Union. But I think what we are going to find out is that there's no one way to do it. We talk about this in college basketball all the time. Like, what's the best way to build a college basketball team? Well, the national champions just did it with the transfer portal, but the team that was supposed to win the national championship just did it with lottery picks, one and done freshmen. So they both were in a position to do it. They both made it to the Final Four. dramatically different approaches.
Mm-hmm.
There's no one way to do it in the NBA either, but I think what we're going to find out is it's star and role players.
Mm-hmm.
It's star role players. And that doesn't mean that some of these role players can't develop into stars, and then good luck trying to keep them. But, and this is a conversation we'll have all offseason, but this is one where you're going to get into Desmond Bane makes $40 million as your third best player.
Yes.
Is that the calculation that makes sense?
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, you're in a place where every other franchise is like, well, do we want Desmond Bane as our third base?
And that's where even getting into the weeds of like the value of players. We're in such an interesting period of players whose value would be assumed to be one thing, but then can a team justify that value for them, even though they've earned it based on how they've played? But then you're making business decisions. It's like, well, actually.
Well, we went through a little phase, maybe a longer phase, where if you had a player you really liked and he was eligible for a max contract, you just gave him the max contract and you felt good about it. And I don't think we're there anymore. We'll see whether Jaren's eligible for $300 billion or not. But
we should find out this week.
But just because you're eligible for $350 million does not mean a franchise should give you $350 million. You know, we're going to find that out too.
Yes,
they should trade you to the Lakers.
Maybe they should just trade you to the Lakers.
All right, Gary, go hobble yourself over to your studio.
I got 40 minutes.
I gave you 40 minutes.
I'll get there in 40 minutes.
Get there.
If you got that scooter still laying around, I wouldn't mind.
I had to give it back. That's the thing I miss the most. You want to know what I still have, though?
Mm-hmm.
My shower stool. So if you get to a point where you need a shower, we have a house guest who's in, and my bathroom is the guest bathroom because the key to a happy marriage is to have separate bathrooms if you can do that. And so he's using my shower, and he's like, why do you have the shower stool? And I'm like, it's become easier to shave my legs just using the shower stool that I had for the Achilles. It's been in there from the day I got it.
I don't object to shower
you can have
stools, but if I just find myself at any point
needing a shower stool, just put you out.
I don't mind having a shower stool or even you using a shower stool out of convenience.
Thank you.
I would prefer not to need one.
It is a little embarrassing. And then I found out my friends all talk about it. They're like, oh, you saw Jess's shower stool because it's in the guest bathroom. So when people use it, they're upstairs. The shower curtain's up. They're like, oh, I'm like, oh no, I'm 85.
You just get to this point in life and it's great because the only way you don't get to this point in life is you die young.
Yeah, I'm grateful.
Right.
I'm grateful to hopefully need a shower stool
But you get
someday.
to a point in life where you just have things you didn't used to have, like cholesterol medicine.
Oh man, Sunday coming out of my second 3-day festival in 2 weeks, I felt like I'd been hit by a bus.
Like, why do I have to travel with Advil and cholesterol medicine and a breathing mouthpiece? Like, why do you need all this stuff? And a shower stool.
And a shower stool.
And a shower stool is on that thing.
All right.
It's tough out there,
Good luck with your hammy.
Oh, I'll do my
We'll
best.
catch you next time. All right, we'll take a break. We'll come back. WNBA action from over the weekend. We're doing it again with Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese, but I had a more important takeaway from the Indiana Fever's win over the Chicago Sky. We'll get into that when we come back.
Have you always dreamed of entertaining on the biggest stage in Memphis? The Claw Crew is looking for members to join their team for the 2025-2026 season. Claw Crew members are hardworking, high-energy entertainers who assist Grizzlies home games by hyping up the crowd and much more. Not only do they support the Grizzlies at home games, but also promote in Memphis and across the Mid-South. Open auditions are Saturday, August 9th at FedEx Forum. Visit grizzlies.com/auditions for more information and to register today.
Let's face it, there's a lot of trash talk in basketball, but the great teams let their performance do the talking. Like Ford F-150 with Pro Power on board, a class-exclusive industry-first feature that turns your truck into a mobile generator and leaves the competition speechless. Ford F-150, official truck of the Grizzlies. Greatness starts here at your Mid-South Ford dealer. Class is full-size pickups under 8,500 pounds, GVWR.
Kroger shoppers and Grizz fans. One exclusive last-minute discounted ticket deals texted straight to you during the Grizzlies 2024-2025 season. Sign up with the new Kroger Buzzer Beater deal. Fans can sign up by texting Grizz to 636-479 or visit your local Kroger store in the Delta Division and scan the QR code. By signing up, you agree to receive recurring automated promotional and personalized marketing text messages from the Memphis Grizzlies. Consent is not a condition of any purchase. Message frequency varies. Message and data rates may apply.
Sonic Radio. Welcome back to Sonic RNDIO. That spells radio with me, the CIO. This just in, the new Sonic $1.99 menu lets you build a crave-worthy meal for just $1.99 an item. Whether that's a creamy shake, crispy tots, or a quarter-pound double cheeseburger. This just out. Ostriches. They're mean, not very cute, and in my opinion, way too big for a bird. Don't miss the Sonic Fun 99 menu. 5 items, always $1.99. Live free, eat Sonic.
Tax not included. See menu for details.
I got some Cam Ward news for you, by the way.
Let me hear it.
You talk about being able to sell some jerseys. 7 minutes ago at his introductory press conference in Nashville, Warren Moon walks in. I give you permission to wear number 1.
Oh, wow.
He hands him the number 1 jersey.
Oh, that's amazing.
I'm going to give you permission to wear number 1. So he's going to have the number 1 Cam Ward jersey.
That's amazing.
We're rocking the Cam Ward number 1 Titans jersey.
That's amazing.
The Chris Vernon Show, live on weekdays at noon on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
I thought Penny was smart to handle this the way he handled it. He expressed frustration with the system, the chaotic nature of it. The price hike on eggs ain't got nothing on the price hike on basketball players. The same dude who cost you $150,000 last summer is costing you $500,000 right now. I understand his sentiment, but he stopped well short of criticizing PJ Haggerty.
The Gary Parrish Show, live on weekdays at 10 a.m. on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
We're going to do our pick 6, 6 favorite Outkast songs in honor of Outkast being inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Elevators is the most creative.
Me and you.
Yes. Your mama and your cousin too.
Every time I hear somebody say me and you, I
just go to the next one, right?
Get all of your HBCU sports and culture news by tuning in to HBCU Huddle with CJ Hurt and Mike Wallace. New episodes drop every Thursday on grindcitymedia.com, YouTube, and Spotify.
Welcome back. Thanks to Gary Parrish for really struggling to come in the studio here this morning on a torn or strained hamstring. We got to get to some WNBA action from over the weekend. Biggest story of opening weekend in the WNBA was not the sexy, you won't get me. It's not the little sexy, clicky soap opera story, the discourse that popped off from Fever Sky. We'll get to that, CJ.
Is it the rings with the earrings in them?
Those are the coolest championship rings I've ever seen. And sometimes I'm glad to hear you have appreciation for it because Chris was like, aren't you just going to lose the earrings? I'm like, besides the point. Doesn't matter.
Women are used to keeping small earrings.
I mean, he lives with a woman who has earrings placed in every corner of our home. I don't understand. These were awesome. Like, truly, I believe this is the first time that there have ever been earrings inside of a championship ring, and shout out women. But these rings were cool. The Liberty had a
that's just beautiful.
Huge win over the Aces. That was not my biggest story of opening weekend. My biggest story of opening weekend, the Fever have the stuff, CJ. I am going to sit here. There is no time like one game into the season to make bold, sweeping, hot take predictions. But it would not surprise me one bit if the Indiana Fever find themselves in the WNBA Finals this year. I'm saying it. I want it marked down on May 19th, and I know it's crazy, but they looked so good. And a massive part of it is, I don't know if you know this, Caitlin Clark's really good at basketball. She continues to be pretty tremendous on the basketball court. Triple-double in the opening game for Caitlin Clark and the Fever. 20 points, 10 rebounds, 10 assists. She also had 4 blocks and 2 steals. But it is not just Caitlin Clark. It is Aaliyah Boston, who had a double-double. Bit of a rocky first quarter, getting some of those early game jitters out. But I thought after that, the improvement that she has shown from last year to this year, the growth that she has already displayed, and you're like, oh God, like a Caitlin Clark, Aaliyah Boston 2-woman game could be an absolute nightmare. Then you see Kelsey Mitchell has 15 points. Natasha Howard has 15 points. DeWanna Bonner moved into 3rd place in the WNBA all-time career scoring list. Lexi Hole had 9 points and 9 rebounds. Sophie Cunningham wasn't even able to play because she's dealing with an ankle injury. For a team that only brought back 5 players from last year's team, they looked incredibly comfortable playing with one another. And that was what I mean by having a growing confidence in this Fever team, which already existed in a pretty healthy place going into the year. But you generally start to think like, oh, it might take a couple weeks of growing pains. They might have to grow into what they're going to be this season. And there's room for growth, and there's room to figure out what that rotation is exactly going to look like once they reach the WNBA postseason. But from a first game opportunity, they looked really good.
Yeah, and listen, man, you add to that core group, Mitchell, Clark, and Boston, you add to them somebody who, in the MVP conversation in the past 3 years, right? Like, DeWanna Bonner is a baller.
She's an all-timer.
That's a walking bucket. That, when we look back on it, we'll be talking about her in the Hall of Fame. And, all right, where does she rank in the Pantheon or Parthenon, wherever we do the sports rankings at? Where does she rank all time in women's basketball history? And you're adding that. So yes, while there are only 5 returning players, you're out there adding pieces that are better than the pieces you had on the team last year. And that was a team last year that surprised a lot of folks, surprised the hell out of me with how well they were on the backs of those 3, Mitchell, Clark, and Boston. And so you're adding her. Yeah, I would like to disagree with you, but this is one of those instances where I don't think that I can. Now, it's one game. Right. My only argument is, how good are the Sky?
So
how good are they?
We're going to find out more about the Fever next Saturday. They play the Liberty.
Yes.
Next Saturday.
Now, here we go.
Because I don't want to say it. They play the Dream twice this week, and I caught a little bit of the Dream Mystics game. The Dream stink.
Do they?
The Dream are bad. Defensively, they made the Mystics rookies. Oh God, I wrote down her name. The girl from Notre Dame who ended obviously
not Hidalgo,
European,
not
ended
Miles.
up with them. So from USC, I have interest in the Mystics to some degree. Oh my God, I'm blanking on it. Anyway, she was tremendous. Like she looked old. She looked like a veteran. Both of them. They were having fun. They were laughing. And I was like, oh, the Atlanta Dream are not good. And the Fever have 2 games against the Dream coming up this week. One of them is Tuesday on NBA TV.
Citron?
Yeah. Citron. Okay. She's good. I enjoy watching her play. Anyway, you'll get a better idea of what this Fever team really looks like at this point in the season when they play against the Liberty, because I don't know what the Chicago Sky are, but it's not like they just beat the Chicago Sky. They walloped the Chicago Sky, which is, if the Sky are bad, that's what you're supposed to do against teams like that, to win 93-58. And they missed a lot of bunnies, especially early in the game too. But what really stood out to me was the relaxed state that Caitlin Clark seems to be able to play in right now, because the entire weight of the world does not fall on her shoulders. Like, that's what the roster reconstruction around Caitlin Clark was for this season, was getting players who could make shots, who could catch her passes, having players who are ready to play at the level that Caitlin Clark can kind of bring everybody up to from a team perspective. And I thought that was clear. The difference between Caitlin Clark's rookie debut and her sophomore debut speaks to the areas that she showed improvement throughout the Fever season, especially coming out of the All-Star break last year and the Olympic break, and she was like a different player. But last year, her rookie debut, she had the same amount of points as she had on Saturday, but those 20 points were on 5 of 15 shooting, 4 of 11 from 3, and she had 10 turnovers. And this year, 20 points on 6 of 13 shooting, 4 of 8 from 3, and only 3 turnovers. And those turnovers came pretty early, and she cleaned it up well down the stretch. And granted, like, they were rolling at that point, but they also looked so improved defensively. And that's what I'm curious on. Is it a matchup? Do the Sky not really have much of anything? Like, they couldn't make anything against the Fever. Was it the Fever's defense, or is it the ineptitude of the Sky?
I think it's a little bit of both, and we'll find out more. Like you said, in that game against the Liberty and the Fever there are a couple of teams that are must see for me in the W this year. The Liberty and the Fever are 2 of them. I'll throw Aces in there as well, and the Lynx, right? Like those will be the 4 teams where if they're on, I will stop what I'm doing and watch them go out there and play because it's just good basketball. Now, defensively, Bonner is a long, athletic player who is a wing, I think, by nature, right? So you got that type of length out there in passing lanes. Caitlin Clark can harass the ball. So can Mitchell as well. So you got them on the ball being pests as well. And then Aaliyah Boston, her IQ and knowledge of the game is so high. Yes. You got her in the back line floating around there in that sort of free safety role, right? Like they are set up to be good on defense as well as good on offense because you got Caitlin Clark, who you just got to be into. You have to, and you get so close, she can go by you. Right. Leah Boston sets really good screens. She's a good roll to the rim player. She's also a good pick and pop player as well. And then Mitchell, we saw her make a whole bunch of threes last year, just wide open, just spot up, knock those down. And then with the addition of Bonner, if all of that fails, just say, here you go, please go get a bucket. And you can't go double her. Because if you're doubling her, you're leaving Mitchell or you're leaving Clark open, and both of them will punish you. And if you're trying to double from an Aaliyah Boston, well, we saw her do this last year with Caitlin Clark doubles, where she gets to the center of the court, makes herself big, gets the ball, turns, faces up, and makes the right pass, and you end up with an open shot on the back end. I really don't know who or what stops this team from getting to a WNBA Finals. I look forward to watching it play out. I look forward to seeing if anybody
Weird
does.
Stuff happens in sports every year.
I'm not sure how or what you can do to stop that. You have to have somebody who can guard Caitlin Clark one-on-one, and we don't make a lot of those. We just don't. I think Chelsea Gray might be able to, and that's it. Those maybe Sabrina can go out there full up, maybe.
And that Liberty roster is so stacked.
Natasha
we'll talk
Cloud,
about the Liberty when we get there.
Right? Like
I'm
not
other Fever Sky things to
I'm
discuss.
not sure what you can do as an individual defender on Caitlin Clark right now. She's just that good. What else is there to discuss? It was a great basketball game.
All right. So in the third quarter of the basketball game, we got our first moment of the season. Because you knew there was going to be one. Like going into it, like, oh, what's gonna pop off between the Fever and the Sky? I hear they hate each other. I hear Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese hate each other. And we get the moment in the third quarter where Caitlin Clark ends up being called for a flagrant foul on Angel Reese. This is the play that it happens on. If we can roll it, here's the after. Okay, there. No, that's the after effect of them getting into it. But Caitlin Clark pushes Angel Reese down to the ground. Angel gets back up, kind of goes towards Caitlin Clark in her actions afterwards. She was heated about it. I will say, if you go back and watch this play from the beginning, the reason Angel Reese gets this rebound is because she pushed Natasha Howard to get out of the way. And you watch Caitlin Clark react to Angel Reese pushing Natasha Howard. Caitlin Clark is like doing the, where's the call on that? And then Caitlin ends up going and pushing Angel Reese. Caitlin Clark was asked about it after the game.
She was asked about it in the fourth quarter.
She was also asked about it I hate those. She was also asked
Why
about it
do
in
you
the fourth
hate them?
quarter.
That's great.
I hate in-game interviews.
Why?
I think they're a waste of time.
All right, Greg Popovich.
I completely think they're a waste of time. But then after the game, too, like the press conference moment was funny because Aaliyah Boston actually ended up getting a technical foul during all of this, as she's kind of like the get-back girl between Angel and Caitlin Clark. And Aaliyah Boston was like, me? And Caitlin Clark kind of pushes it down in the moment. She goes, let's not make this into anything that it's not. It was just a play on the basketball. It was a take foul, put her at the line instead of giving her 2 points, moving right along. So everybody's talking about that because we can never just have normal, non-discourse filled moments in the WNBA.
I would really like there to be normal, non-discourse.
I just did it for we just did it for 15 minutes. I just want to say
that's just good basketball.
I want to remind people you can talk about the game before you talk about this very non-consequential. Like the Fever went on a 9-0 run after it. I was impressed by the poise of the Fever coming out of that. I was like, oh, that's some maturity. Then we get to the portion afterwards where the WNBA and the Fever end up releasing statements yesterday. The WNBA ends up releasing a statement that, and I want to be clear on this, like, I did not know anything else had happened because I was at Smoke Slam, watched the game, saw the final box score, was excited to go back and watch highlights and dive into it, but didn't really make anything outside of, of course, Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese had a moment between the two of them, and people are going to talk about it as they often do. So I did not understand why the WNBA was putting out a statement yesterday saying that they strongly condemn racism, hate, and discrimination of all forms, and they are, quote, aware of the allegations and are looking into the matter. And then the Indiana Fever followed suit and said, we are aware of the allegations of inappropriate fan conduct during yesterday's game, and we are working closely with the WNBA to complete their investigation. We stand firm in our commitment to providing a safe environment for all WNBA players. And I want to say, first and foremost, yes, always investigate hate speech, racism, discrimination. Like, I would rather you take allegations seriously, investigate them, and find out that nothing happened, and then move forward as appropriate. Or if you find out that something did happen, then taking the necessary actions to try to rectify an inappropriate situation and one that has no place in the WNBA. But from what I understand, I think this might be a classic case of confusing Twitter with reality. And I know sports exists on Twitter or X, and there are a lot of conversations that go on, and there's so much racist, disgusting stuff on Twitter, especially as it pertains to the discourse around Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark and the Fever and the Sky. But from what I understand, this all started with somebody on Twitter who said that fans were making monkey noises at Angel Reese, which, if that happened, that's disgusting and should not happen, period, the end. That tweet has since been taken down. That person's account was deleted. There is a question of if that person was at the game. There are no videos. There are no other fans corroborating that they were there at the game and also heard this happen. And one tweet happens and it explodes as this is what happened at the Fever Sky game over the weekend. And now you have a situation where the WNBA and the Fever are putting out their messages. And listen, like, I don't want to give the W all that much credit because I think more could have been done last year when this first started. And I don't know if you stop. I don't think there's any way that you stop it. But they could have at least shown more attempted force at putting a handle on this kind of discourse. And at this point, like, the cat's out of the bag and it's a bit of a mess. But I hate that we're sitting here having to even talk about this today, because what I saw was a great performance by a Fever team that was awesome. And that's what I want to talk about. I want to talk about Liberty Aces. And yet this has to be discussed because it is yet another thing that happened. These teams play 4 more times.
Can they not play 10? What are we doing?
Well,
they
I
should
wish
put
the
it
Sky
on
were
pay-per-view.
better. Make them better. That's the
Well,
thing. If this was like Angel and Caitlin dueling, and like, I don't want this to be that was a comment that's going to be seen as like a disrespect to Angel Reese.
Make the Sky aren't good.
The Sky are not
that
good.
That has nothing to do with Angel Reese. Angel Reese went out there and put up 17 rebounds, right?
Yes.
How many points was it? 20 and 17? 10 and 17?
No, it was 12 and 17 on
12
5
and
of 14.
17?
Like, Angel Reese, please make your rebounds so I can defend you with honor, but not make your rebounds, make your layups.
10 of those rebounds are on the defensive side of the ball, right? Like, that's not.
Yeah, but 7 of them are offensive.
Okay, and that's fine. You got to get rebounds. If it was, check this out. If it was easy to get your rebound after you miss, everybody would get those types of rebounds, right? Like, stop it. So she's fine. What else are you going to put around her? I was disappointed in Cardoso. I was.
Yeah.
I thought that she'd have more of an impact on that game and more of an impact on the season. So far, 1 game. So there's still a chance for her to have a big impact. You've got a seasoned vet in Vandersloot running around as well. The end is nigh for that one. You got to find a way to get younger. Like, come on, man. Make them better.
Like, the Liberty move on from Natasha, or move on from Sloot to Natasha Howard, and Natasha Cloud. And I'm like, oh, what a tremendous upgrade for them. And the Sky end up with Courtney Vandersloot, and I'm like, oh, God, what a not great time for that to happen.
Natasha Cloud means that when Sabrina is having one of her moments,
that's what they have such
you can
shorter
say, all right,
leash on Sabrina
Natasha,
because of Natasha Cloud.
And it's good.
She's an instant fan favorite in New York.
Listen, I've made my stance on
Sabrina, I know.
Clear. She won a she's on a championship winning team, so you kind of got to let some of that stuff die by the wayside. Mm-hmm. But it still is what it is, where she will absolutely in big moments do that, shrink from them. And now with Cloud, you don't have to be, it's not going to be as damaging for you in those moments when she inevitably does that. Now, back on the Sky being bad, they're just bad.
Right.
There are chicks out there who played 15 plus minutes, took shots, no points, no production. They were just out there. It can't be just Angel Reese and nobody. She's going to need help because everybody needs help. I don't know what you do to make the Sky better other than wait for the draft next year and go out there and get somebody who's going to be eligible, Olivia or what's the other one at Notre Dame? The one Hidalgo, or I don't know what Juju got planned if Juju decides.
Juju's dead. She's going to come back to life, but like Juju's not going to enter the draft.
All right, well, listen, man. Maybe Juju does. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe you can convince Juju to go out there and get in draft. I don't know. That's probably tampering. Point is, I don't know how the hell you make this Chicago Sky team any better. I think this is what they are going forward.
And I do think it is, again, this whole situation. One of the reasons that it escalates to the point that it does is we were just talking about like superstardom with Gary and stars. Like Caitlin Clark is a star. I thought the lack of like pomp and circumstance for Paige Becker's debut on Friday, which I did think was partially at fault of the WNBA billing those 2 games on Saturday. I got caught up in thinking that it started on Saturday with Aces Liberty and then Fever Sky, and it was this. And then you mix in with the fact that Friday's action got kind of like usurped by the Knicks and all of the celebrations with them knocking off the Celtics. And so then next thing you knew, it was like, oh, the Lynx and the Wings played? I had no idea. And Paige Beckers had 10 points and 7 rebounds and 2 assists. Interesting. I didn't have that game on my radar in real time. And again, this is a long season. Like, there was plenty of time to catch up. And the Lynx looked, Nafisa Collier looked awesome in the highlights that I saw from that game. She is one of my favorite players in sports to watch at this point, and coming out of the summer that she had too. But ultimately, all that to say, Caitlin Clark is unique in her star power because while you and I have circled the Fever and the Liberty and the Aces and the Lynx to try to watch as many of their games as possible, a lot of people out there have circled Caitlin Clark as the person that they want to watch. And yes, with that comes the entirety of the Fever, and the environment at that game looked insane on Saturday. And they had fans lined up to get stuff at the team store like hours before the doors open. And that is very lightning in a bottle. Like, she is so unique in that sense. But now it is the reckoning of trying to wade through the discourse and just get to the fact that, like, she is effing awesome at basketball. And now she has a team around her that is really, really good as well and can perhaps elevate them into a place where they are operating, I don't know, where we're talking about them in terms of like an operating ahead of schedule. Like, now they're in a place where they can operate right here, right now. But now we're still stuck in all of the discourse, and everything that happens with Caitlin Clark and the Fever is going to be massive news. That's like the fact of the matter. And I don't know how we like appropriately wade through the mess.
I think every now and then you look at the mess in front of you and say, okay, I'm just going to step around it. I don't need to clean this up.
Yeah.
I don't. There's what more can be said about Caitlin Clark's impact on the game and about Caitlin Clark's place in sports culture and Caitlin Clark's uniqueness in pop culture. What more can be said that hasn't already been said? If you got something else to say, got something else to add, I'm always here to listen. I don't got nothing else to add.
Yeah.
She's a phenomenal basketball player. She is the great white hype, but she is cashing in on that hype. So she's more than just hype. There is a segment of white people, of whiteness, that gravitates towards her because they want to keep black people in their place. Wherever that place is, they want them to be there. Right? There is absolutely a racist component towards this, just like for a long time, one of those damn Chan groups held Taylor Swift up as the model woman of whiteness, just pure white, blonde, and untouched, unsullied by the rest of the world. And then Taylor Swift had to eventually come out like, yo, you guys are weird. I'm not finna sit up here and exist while y'all use my name to defame and to put down others. And then so there was that friction there. It's a lot like what's going on with the Punisher and law enforcement, where everybody got that damn logo in law enforcement on their decal on the car that they drive to and from work, on their police car, whatever it may be. And there's a moment in Daredevil Born Again where the Punisher is talking to actual law enforcement. And he basically says, like, yo, get the F out of here. You don't know me. You don't know my story. How dare you? How dare you? And Caitlin Clark has done as good a job as I think somebody in that position could do.
Yes.
Where she had the article where it was like, yo, listen, no, I don't support this.
Yeah.
If she's on fighting online, fighting racism constantly after every game, she'll never get off of it. She just won't. She'll never be able to get in the gym and get any work done. So if Caitlin Clark can say, hey, you know what? I said it once. I don't need to keep repeating myself. I think that is clear that that's not her stance, that she's not rocking with people like the Portnoys of the world running around saying outrageously disparaging things about black players in this league. If she's good with it, I'm good with it. I'm ready to talk about ball.
Yeah.
Because that was fun. Watching that was fun.
That was fun. The Liberty Aces game before it was a fun game for a good chunk of it, and then the Liberty just kind of took control of it. The Aces have no size right now. They have nothing. It was a layup line for the New York
I look
Liberty.
up and it's like, why the hell is Chelsea Gray guarding Jonquel Jones? What
Gustafson
are we doing?
is out with an injury. Jonquel Jones, when you have Jonquel and Stewie, like,
and you bring Sably in off the bench,
there is only so much you can do if you are
get some size.
The
is
Las
what
Vegas
you do.
Aces. I just think it's such a clear distinction right now between the Liberty and the Aces, where the Liberty are now 7-1 in their last 8 games against Las Vegas, and coming out of them beating them in the semifinals last year. There's just a clear discrepancy between the Liberty being in a tier above. Now, the Aces have the reigning MVP, and Asia Wilson is awesome, and there's certainly room for improvement. Jewel Lloyd is going to have to be better. Like, the assumption was get Jewel Lloyd out of Seattle and get her back to doing, what she is capable of, but that wasn't it. She's going to shoot like 30% for the Aces. Like, it's going to be a tough justification for the contract that they are paying her right now. But I just thought the Liberty, you couldn't have asked for a better start to the season, coming off of defending your championship, having the championship celebration, getting your new rings, and then reminding everyone, like, oh, I think for a long time, and appropriately so after their championships, a lot of the energy outside of like the Caitlin Clark phenomenon of it all. But for those of us who have been with the W for years now, it's like, oh, the Aces are that team. Like, the Aces are the dynasty. And right now the Liberty have cemented themselves in a position where I know they finally got their first one. They finally got their title, but they appear to be built in a way where that can continue forward. I don't think we can even give Breanna Stewart enough credit for how consistently great she is and how she elevates every team that she has ever been on, from college to the pros to the Olympics. She's just awesome.
She's a dominant post player with handles.
Yes.
Right, like she's pulling your big away from the rim and going by said big. And then if you want to put somebody smaller on her, fine. She'll get near the rim and go over that player. Her ability to pass as well, something that is unique for a player that is that size. And then you add to it, you got Jonquel Jones, who's just a monster. You throw her the ball, and she's just bullying her way to the rim. And then when you get good Sabrina, all bets are off. And now when you get bad Sabrina,
you have Natasha Cloud. Congrats.
I'm not sure
or
what
Kennedy
can be done
Burke
there.
coming off the bench. Like
Kennedy Burke, right? Like there's so much good on that team that even when their greats are off, even if Jonquel Jones is having an off night scoring or Breanna Stewart is having an off night facilitating, there are enough goods around them to go out there and get the job done. And I don't think most teams in the W have that. I'm interested to see what they look like against the Lynx. I think that is the second best team in the league, even though I got the fever going to the W finals, but we'll see how this all shakes out.
As I said, coming out of weekend one.
I just don't know, man, and that's exciting. There's so much good basketball right now. I had a conversation with my uncle, not this weekend, 2 weekends ago, and he was like, "Yo, listen, my favorite basketball to watch." He watches all basketball.
Yeah.
I'm talking all of it. you got a good JV team, he will travel to Poplar Bluff, Missouri to watch your JV team play. And he's my favorite basketball to watch right now is WNBA because that's how we grew up playing basketball.
Yeah.
It's a whole lot of off-ball action. It's a lot of mid-range stuff as well. That's the type of basketball I grew up with. They're physical as well. They're allowed to be physical, right? Like Angel Reese, two-hand shoves somebody and then catches a hard foul, and we just keep on going with our day. If we were regular, we just keep on going with our day, right? You don't get that sort of intensity, that sort of physicality in the regular season in the NBA or in college basketball, but you get it in the W. It's like, yo, this is my favorite basketball to watch. Yeah. And watching it, it's like, yeah, when it's played at this level, it's good. It's real good. It's exciting to watch.
My whisper team, just intrigued, Phoenix Mercury.
Why?
With Satu Sabali and Alyssa Thomas. Now, they played the Seattle Storm, who were reminded that you can't just get rid of Jewel Lloyd and think that everything is going to work out. Like
Bird,
the Storm,
Jewel Lloyd,
bad.
Breanna Stewart.
Storm in hell right now. The Mercury were just interesting. They're dealing with a lot of stuff off the court with a lot of, it's like that ownership group who is both with the Suns and the Mercury has a new lawsuit coming out against a current employee or a former employee every other day. I'm just intrigued. I'm just keeping a pin on it. Like, not like I'm sitting here saying, God, I think the Mercury are going to be really good this year. But I'm intrigued what this looks like outside of just a one-game beatdown on the Seattle Storm. But, like, Sabali's great. And, like, if you have those two leading the way and some of these players that they have filled out, even a couple players who were outside of the W, finding a new home with Phoenix, coming out of the Diana Taurasi years and the Diana Taurasi everything, and Brittany Griner being gone as well. Obviously, so much turnover. I kind of was like, oh, no one's going to think about the Mercury this year. And then their highlights were crossing my page over the weekend, and I kind of sat down and looked into it.
All right, I'll buckle down.
It's like a curiosity pin.
When you got AT on your team, though, that is somebody who can lead the league in scoring, rebounding, and assists. Right? So that whoever she is going to be battling for postseason berth.
All right, quickly, Hot Mess Express before we get out of here and into the rest of our Monday. We saw something in sports that we have never seen before, CJ. College softball tournament got started over the weekend, and for the first time, the overall #1 seed will not advance to the Super Regionals because Liberty completed one of the biggest upsets in sports history, knocking out Texas A&M, a team that won 48 games in the SEC, an SEC that has 8 of the final 16 teams left in the tournament, but Texas A&M is not one of them, as Liberty beats them to go to their first ever Super Regional. This is like a UMBC level upset. And I don't want to be disrespectful to Liberty, because I saw some people who followed college softball religiously say that they should have never been in that region to begin with, that they were better than being put in that situation. But they capitalized on it. They take down Texas A&M, and they advance. And I love this time of year when we get random stuff like this popping off in all of the sports. It's a great, we don't give this time of year enough credit in the sports space between the NBA finals, the NHL playoffs, the WNBA starting. The what?
The start to Caitlin Clark season.
Yes. God, I love Caitlin Clark season.
I love Caitlin Clark season.
I really love Caitlin Clark season. What time do we get out? 56?
Yeah, you got 40 seconds.
Okay.
Or you can say goodbye to the people now, and then we just play the music.
We're still figuring out. We started the show with a mistiming. We're ending the show with a mistiming. It's a Monday. It's a 3-day weekend. We're a little out of practice.
Yeah, you got like 25 seconds.
Cool.
Well,
we'll be
more
back.
than 25. No,
That's
25.
fantastic.
Well, now you got 20 seconds. Yeah, it was 25.
Game
now
one. Oh, wait, no, not. We don't have a game tonight.
15 seconds.
All right. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Mike Wallace will join us. We'll talk to him about the NBA conference finals. I hope you have a wonderful Monday. We'll see you next time. Bye.
2, 1.
Are you screaming at the end of every show?
No, I've been paying for screaming.